Hey guys, how's it going? Today I want to speak about the subject of, can education come without schooling? Well, you got to think about it this way, is that schooling as we know it nowadays, having 12 years of school and stuff like that, is actually pretty recent. And just 100 years ago, even 50 years ago and stuff like that, we didn't really have a schooling system that incorporated 12 years. Many people did go to school for a little while. They would go for maybe a year or so. I mean, not a year, but a few years. And then afterwards, they would be asked to work from their parents' business, or for their farm, or for basically whatever really was needed in that time. And nowadays, we have this 12-year school system, and the actual people who had more schooling than others were usually the males, and also people who basically came from rich families. Females didn't have as much schooling as the males, because in those days it was expected for the woman to be at home and do stuff for the house, to raise the kids and stuff like that, and then the husband or the male was supposed to make money. But with times, things have changed. Now pretty much most westernized countries actually require you to have your kid go to school from first grade to 12th grade. And sometimes in some places you're able to stop that after a certain age. It depends on the country, but most likely most people will do a good 12 years of school, and then the 4 years of college or more, that's optional. But can you get education without being schooled? Well, even in the old times. Now it's even better, because now we have the internet. Now we have magnificent ways of getting information through libraries, the internet, and all these things. So obviously, being able to get information to learn stuff is easy, and everybody pretty much knows how to read, because even if you don't do many years of school, you're still gonna go to school for a couple of years, and even if you don't, somebody will probably teach you that, whereas in the olden times it wasn't like that at all. But in the old times too, you were able to be schooled and educated without actually going to school, because people would still teach you stuff. You would still learn things, even from the trade. And even in today's day, we often think of schooling as, well, it's what I get my education from. Where I get my education is school. But even people who don't go to school or don't have that advantage, maybe you're from a poor place of the world or whatever it is, they are still very knowledgeable in the subject that they're knowledgeable about. So that's what's fun about it, is that basically, even though we'll say somebody who learned mechanic, or somebody who learned how to build houses, somebody who learned how to sew or to cook, didn't go to school, it doesn't mean that they're ignorant. They may not know anything about the theory of relativity, or how to calculate very difficult equations and all these things, but they will still be able to have an enormous amount of knowledge within that subject. And because of that, they can actually be geniuses in their own way. And it's not because you don't go to school, it's not because you don't actually go the proper route, that you will not be educated in your own way in the things that you need to learn in order to survive, to make money, to live. But of course, now you're going to give me the example of people such as Steve Jobs and Bill Gates and all that stuff that supposedly didn't go to school. Well, the things that you must understand is that they did go to school. they did go to at least 12 years of school, and then they did go to college, but then they dropped out of college because it wasn't necessarily for them. And also they were in a westernized world, surrounded by people that knew an enormous amount of stuff about computers. That was kind of like what they knew, that's what they had. And just the upbringing of being surrounded by these kind of people, if you are surrounded by people who are knowledgeable in a multitude and number of things, well, you are going to learn from them. And you don't necessarily have to go to school, because you're going to learn this information from the people that are surrounding you, and they will teach you. So schooling is important. It can teach you even better, but at the same time, you don't necessarily need school in order to thrive. It's a lot about your surrounding and how the surrounding interacts with you. That's it. That's all I have to say on the subject. Have a great day, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.